With 4 2026 Tesla Model 3 variants, there's ample opportunity to buy the wrong Model 3 trim, and no one should overpay for their practical needs and wants, right? You may personally be stuck between buying the range-busting Tesla Model 3 Premium Rear-Wheel Drive or the new Tesla Model 3 Standard variant, heck, even the Model 3 Performance, which raises the rightful question of what each step up in price for each trim gets you, and ultimately, is that step up worth it for you? Now, some of you may recall that I've previously produced some of the most useful and relatable Tesla Model 3 and Model Y comparisons on YouTube, as highlighted by some of you before. I've been a Tesla Model 3 and Model Y owner for around 5 years now, hot off the back of producing the same straight talking comparison of the Tesla Model Y, for which I'll link on the screen now if you're interested. The atom difference in this Tesla Model 3 comparison is that I'm trying to help you avoid a buyer's regret. I just want you to be aware of what you are buying and why. I do try and stay away from the boring spec sheets, noting that I do have to refer to them at times. But most importantly, I'll help bring this Model 3 comparison to life by helping you identify how each trim is useful for your own unique circumstances and in practical terms too. Therefore, this video is produced so that by the end of this 15 minute-ish video, you will know exactly what those differences are, what type of bias suits which Model 3 trim and why. And perhaps the most interesting point, helping you to decide if that jump in price is going to be money well spent for your circumstances. So whether you're new to Tesla EVs or you're already a Tesla owner looking to upgrade to this new 2026 Tesla Model 3, this video should help you address which one of these 2026 Tesla Model 3s you should buy and why. A quick shout out to the new star of the show and the one to beat for me. That is the new standard rear-wheel drive trim. It may be a slightly controversial opinion, but I think it sets the benchmark way higher than the 2026 Tesla Model Y standard because it starts at around $36,990 and retains a premium punch than the Model Y standard, such as it's still got the sealed frunk, acoustic glass, and sleek center console with the Alcantara touches too. I think it's wild how little Tesla actually dialed down the Model 3 back less on their base spec sedan, keeping that sporty DNA and near premium vibe without the drop-in premiumness. It's not even a real word. Hopefully I've set the scene for the remainder of the video, but before I do kickstart it, I appreciate if you could just drop the video a cheeky like, subscribe, and do hit the notification bell, not forgetting to hype the video if you can, as it all really does help me out. Right, thank you lovely lot for doing so. Let's get into it. Potentially the biggest and most important difference that you'll see between the different trims in day-to-day practicalities, apart from pricing, is the range and the max charging speed differences. To get this out there, in the UK and Europe, the base rear-wheel drive Tesla Model 3 has a healthy range of 323 miles WLTP, and over the pond is 321 miles EPA for US folks. These base models, sold in different markets, are totally different to each other, but that's essentially irrelevant for the video because I'll be helping you to compare between the trims available in your market. Back to the range comparison. The Long Range all-wheel drive gets a solid range with 410 miles WLTP, making the Long Range rear-wheel drive most suited for those where every mile counts at 466 miles WLTP. Holy moly, who said EVs can't have range? For the Model 3 Premium all-wheel drive and the Premium rear-wheel drive, looking at 346 and 363 miles in realistic EPA range. And if outright performance is your thing, the Model 3 Performance offers 354 miles WLTP or 309 miles EPA, which is still impressive considering that we know the Model 3 Performance is for spirited drivers. But we'll circle back to that. Now, if you're thinking, Adam, I thought you said we're not comparing the spec sheets here. And if you were saying that, well, you're not wrong. I did say that. But here's the atom difference. Practically speaking, would you pick one of these trims over the other vehicle on range alone, and why? There's quite a few differences why you may actually pick one trim over the other, and we'll definitely get onto each and every point in just a second. But I can't stress enough, the lion's share of this decision that you'll make is most likely going to be focused on range. If I'm being brutally honest, most consumers will actually be suited to the range of the base Model 3 standard rear-wheel drive at 320 miles as the baseline. And this is going to trump the average UK daily commute of just over 20 miles a day. Heck, you get that back in around an hour's worth of charging at home and be back at 100%. Yes, literally, about an hour at slow charging speed. The rear-wheel drive in the UK and Europe also comes with a unique battery type, and it's called an LFP pack, and it likes to be charged to 100%, and it's tough as nails when it comes to degradation. My LFP pack in my Model Y hasn't lost a single mile after the first year, which is typically the worst year for degradation, apparently.
So day to day, 320 odd miles is quite the allocation of mileage to get through before you need to charge or supercharge. Typically speaking, you'll go days without plugging in. Even if you are doing long distance, if you have charging at your destination, or you may not even need to supercharge. 320 miles is the equivalent of driving what? 5.5 miles consistently, doing an average of 60 miles an hour. So going cheap with the standard rear-wheel drive is not going to be making a mistake for range for the everyday driver. And I'll probably get to supercharging speed differences in just a second, because there is a difference that you'll need to know about. And there's also a sneaky silver lining in that we still have that trim. But before touching that, if range is a non-negotiable, it has to be the long range rear-wheel drive or premium rear-wheel drive in the US, without doubt. With an extra 140 miles, that could make the difference, especially when it comes to motorway or highway driving. The jump in price between the trims delivers more than just range. You will learn these differences later in the video. The all-wheel drive long range is a solid middle ground option for range and better traction, and this means for those that face difficult wintry conditions, then the all-wheel drive long range then comes into play as you get that extra grip requirement that you need without sacrificing all the extra range the bigger battery has to offer. So if you witness excess wintry conditions where you live, and you know that better than myself, you should know that the premium for greater grip is more of a must in your local area. Therefore, there's literally no point in buying a trim for extra range, say the maxed out long range premium rear wheel drive in the Model 3, if you never do the range or test the limits very rarely. My case for range, at least, just start at the standard unless you know you need traction, then it's the all-wheel drive. Or if range is what you need, then hit up the long range rear-wheel drive. Critically speaking, what I think is more of an issue, or almost as equally as important as range in this decision-making process, is going to be charging speed. And there's some extra features that could be a non-negotiable for you. So as an average driver myself, I rarely tested the range limits in my Model 3 and Model Y. So for me, the charging speed is a more worthy metric that we now need to discuss, as on range alone, spending circa £5,000 extra on more range from the long range rear wheel drive would have very little benefit to me on just range alone. Extra premium features? Yes. Just range? No. Charging speed? More so. As someone that doesn't test the range limits, to me, is it more than reasonable to spend an extra 5 minutes charging for the difference that I need to get to my destination? In my practical mind, the worst case is that 5 minutes extra over 10 times a year, that's going to add up to 50 extra minutes across the entire year. That for me isn't going to be worth an extra £5,000. Even if it was double that at say an hour and 40 minutes across the year, I'd personally rather save the money. That's just personal preference. You may have a different idea. The major charging speed advantage moving away from the base Model 3 to the long range or the long range all-wheel drive is that you'll go from 225 kilowatts in the standard rear wheel drive to 250 kilowatts speed. Note in the UK and Europe is even lower at 170 kilowatts, but do remember it's that super hard wearing battery. It likes 100% state of charge and it struggles to degrade. Charging speed though is going to be the Achilles heel for that super unique LFP battery, but in the US there is no LFP batteries currently sold there, so it has the healthy 225 kilowatts peak charging speed. Back to my original point. If you need to do longer charging stops frequently, for whatever reason, the quicker charging speeds combined with the greater range will 100% be worth it for you, as you could save yourself extra charging stops, but more importantly, each charging stop will equally be quicker, and that time save racks up over the year, for which with kids, it's going to be a lifesaver. The performance also hits that 250 kilowatt speed, so if you are frequently on the road and value minimal downtime, it aligns there too. Beyond what I think are the most important and determinant factors in range and charging speed, there is one more performance-based spec where differences can matter. This doesn't include the feature differences between the standard and the premium trims. That performance difference is acceleration, and that may ultimately matter to you. So let's get into that. If you have a need for speed, the Model 3 has a sporty aura, but just overlooking the class-leading performance variant here that does target out-and-out speed, the Long Range all-wheel drive is a neat fit, as it has a 0-60 time of 4.2 seconds, and you can decrease the 0-60 time further with an over-the-air acceleration boost too. This optional extra is not available on the rear-wheel drive trims, getting 0-60 times of 5.8 seconds for the standard and 4.9 for the long range rear-wheel drive. Hardly a blink in between those two. And it's reassuring that the standard still keeps that zippy sedan feel. I really do feel like it's a crucial part of the Model 3's DNA. Ultimately, we can't overlook that the extra motor and traction is likely to be a key driver of upgrading to the Model 3 Long Range all-wheel drive or premium all-wheel drive Model 3 in the US. Plus, if outright performance is your thing, the performance train blasts to 0-60 in just 2.9 seconds, making it the choice for thrill seekers without compromising too much on its practicality. It also gets a high top speed of 163 miles per hour compared to 125 on the older models, along with performance brakes, lowered suspension, electronically continuously variable shock absorbers, plus the more aggressive front and rear. Moving on to the standard and premium differences, aka the base Model 3 versus the long range trims and beyond, this is mainly where that price difference can be justifiable on features. In no particular order of significance, because some people prioritize different features over others, the base Model 3 is going to have fewer speakers, no subwoofer, meaning that it does not have the full Tesla audio experience. And having owned both the partial and the premium audio Teslas before, the difference is certainly going to be noticeable, but partial premium is pretty good for the everyday Joe. So if you are an audiophile and the sound really does matter, there is no other option other than the long range or performance models that will tick that box for you. And just to expand on that, the immersive audio will not be bad by any means, but the lack of subwoofer will mean that it will sadly lack that depth in the audio experience. Beyond audio, the US base spec is a little bit more basic than the UK and Europe models, and this will include extra premium materials around the vehicle. So the seats actually incorporate a cloth and vegan leather combo. There's no ventilated cooling in the front, there's no rear passenger screen or ambient lighting, but that's pretty much it on the inside for the US standard Model 3 differences. And as I alluded to at the start, this Model 3 standard is actually more premium than the Model Y, as it retains more premium qualities like the front acoustic glass, center console remains, and the suave wireless charging pad remains. You can see my dedicated comparison video on the screen now if you're interested between the two models. But back to the Model 3 comparison. On the outside, barring the wheels and performance trim aesthetics, which I think are absolutely gorgeous by the way, the only other giveaways across the other trims is going to be a dual motor badge on the all-wheel drive models. That's it. It's going to be the same stance, same vibe, matrix like headlights on the standard too. The performance though, as I said, it's a pure menace. Air grills, front splitter, rear diffuser, spoiler, and a lower ride, etc. Colours and the wheels stay consistent, except the performance has standard 20-inch warp rims. The standard rear-wheel drive comes with 18-inch wheels as standard. The 19s are optional for 1500, but then wheel covers for the 18s are actually unique on the standard model, as they actually are pretty handy for individuals who are prone to curb rashing their alloy wheels, as the cover actually covers the whole edge of the wheel. And I don't think I've actually heard many others to actually talk about that advantage. But now you know. Another worthy mention is that they all have the indicator stalk back, so no more steering wheel indication. When it comes to your optional extras, if you opt for a base spec, you have some restrictions as you would for the Model 3 performance. So for example, the base spec comes in stealth grey, pearl white and solid black only. If you want more colour options, you do need to go premium. Want a white interior? Again, you do need to go premium. Fellow Brits and Europeans though, this does not apply with our rear-wheel drive Model 3, and if you're wondering if the warranty differs between the trims, then yes. All 2026 Tesla Model 3s come with 4 years of 50,000 miles general warranty, whichever one's going to come first. But the difference is the battery and motor warranty. In the standard rear-wheel drive model, it is 8 years or 100,000 miles, whichever comes first again. But the long range in performance variants, they get 120,000 miles rather than the 100k of the standard rear-wheel drive. So again, that extra warranty coverage could well be worth it, especially if you are leaning on the mileage more than an everyday driver. Otherwise, there's just one more thing that I need to share before we answer the all-important question of which one is suited to who and why. That one thing is that across all the Model 3s, they all have the same FSD hardware, even the new front bumper camera. It's all standard across the Model 3 range, meaning the optional FSD is available on all models. An interesting comment in my previous video was that they wanted to be more comfortable in a Tesla if they're using FSD more regularly, and so that the premium variants may well be more of an interest to you in that circumstance, but nonetheless, the option of a lower entry point is, I guess, it's welcome for sure. So here we are, folks. To conclude, which Tesla Model 3 is going to be better for you? The 2026 Tesla Model 3 Standard, the Model 3 Long Range rear-wheel drive, the Model 3 Long Range all-wheel drive, or the Performance Model 3? Well, I can't make that decision for you, but hold up. I've highlighted the core differences and for why, but you need to point and decipher which of these previous points and establish which one of these are going to be most important for you, or even just do it the other way around and actually discount the spec differences that aren't as important to you to determine what model best suits you. But generally speaking, value for money, the 2026 standard Tesla Model 3 or the Model 3 rear-wheel drive is absolutely on the money for value. And honestly, 110% the best bang for your buck here. It dials way back less than the Model Y standard, keeps the premium touches like the front seal, the front acoustic glass, the premium console, and it has the sporty sedan vibe that punches above its weight. I think it is by far the most popular variant as a solid all-rounder. The Long Range rear-wheel drive will also be a favourite too for its price, and as a business customer's car of choice, that's going to maximise your range options. 466 miles in the UK too. Really does speak for itself. Plus it's going to get the better charging speeds than the base spec Model 3 with all the premium features that you desire. The Long Range all-wheel drive being the best balanced version of the Tesla Model 3 available at present, with emphasis on traction and acceleration, but it also gets a price tag that matches the extra gained. And the performance? Well, it's obvious, isn't it? That's for those that want supercar-like acceleration in a sedan package, though it does trade a bit of range for that punch. I think you could very easily overlook that, but overall, I really do like the Model 3 Standard as it's such a good spec as standard. Even as a second EV to supplement the main car, the Model 3 as a car is such a fun car to drive. It's lowered down, it's got a go-kart feel, and it's one that I do miss in my Tesla Model Y. That's it for today's video, but before I go, if you want some premium Tesla accessories for your Tesla, like I got for myself in my Model 3 and Model Y, you have to check out Tesla's leading third-party accessory provider, Jawa. Take a look at the links in the video description. I will have a cheeky discount code for you too that you can use. So did today's video help you at all? What are you leaning to? What is the best Model 3 trim now? And is it worth upgrading to the Long Range rear-wheel drive or even the all-wheel drive Long Range? Or going all out for performance? Let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, share the video with any friends or family who haven't already done so. Don't forget to hype the video. Do take a look at the links in the video description. You folks have been great, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.